A former teacher of mine, Senora Velez, was working as the assistant manager at a small bank when an Arabic man, new to the U.S., came in. Senora Velez and a high school student working as an office assistant were the only ones in that day, but the customer was insistent that he had to speak to a man. So, Senora Velez had the high school boy who was working as an office assistant talk to the customer while she sat next to him and told him how to reply. Senora Velez knew that in Arabic culture it's considered inappropriate and rude for a man to speak directly to a woman he doesn't know. And because she knew that, she understood that the customer wasn't trying to imply that she couldn't do her job. He was trying to show her respect. And that understanding may very well have saved her job. Mahatma Gandhi, the non-violent leader of the Indian independence movement, said, "No culture can live if it attempts to be exclusive." Ironically, Colonel Mark Baines, commandant of a NATO school in Bavaria, reached the same conclusion. In a 2012 paper, he stated that lack of 3C, or cross-cultural competence, meant mission failure. Flat out. Despite their very different approaches and the very different worlds they were born into, these two men agreed that ignoring other cultures is essentially shooting yourself in the foot. In a world of global travel and communication, cultural misunderstandings can happen easily and have serious consequences. Large businesses will often hire cultural consultants to teach their executives and negotiators how to interact positively when doing business in another country. Cesar Chavez, notable activist and labor organizer, said, "Preservation of one's own culture does not require contempt or disregard for other cultures." Respecting someone else's point of view doesn't diminish or invalidate your own. Reaching across a cultural barrier takes work on both sides. To understand and be understood, you have to be willing to meet someone halfway. And once you understand and assume that your culture is a way of doing things, as opposed to the right way of doing things, you are halfway there. In an increasingly global world, learning about other cultures is not optional. It's necessary. There are ways for you to do so here at the college, through classes in humanities, sociology, literature, or language, which all give insight into the way other people think and live. If you don't want to spend the money to take a class, there are books on other cultures available at our and local libraries. There are documentaries on TV and a wealth of resources available on the internet for free. But the easiest way to learn about other cultures is just to take the time to talk to people. Many people have lived in or traveled to other places, and they're almost always willing to discuss what they've seen and experienced. I've met some of my own best friends that way. no matter how you do it, investing your time in learning about other cultures can have long-reaching benefits in your life that show up immediately and that show up in the future. Employers look for cross-cultural competency in hiring. In Florida, they especially look for Spanish speaking due to the high Hispanic population. In addition to being more employable, being able and willing to understand other people's perspectives and communicate your own makes you more able to establish and sustain good relationships. And it also gives you a wider perspective on the world and upon your own life. From pollution and bombs to starvation and sickness, humanity is in perhaps more peril than we ever have been before. But for the first time in our history, we have a level of interconnectedness with each other that allows for the possibility of solutions, of understandings in the place of fears. The world is smaller than it ever has been before. Just look at you and I. We're giving speeches that are visible to everyone in the world, from our own homes, under the guidance of a woman who was born deaf. 20 years ago, that was improbable. 50 years ago, it was impossible. You have the world at your fingertips. What will you make possible? Thank you.